Hello everyone. Hi. Hi Abuzar. Hi Vignesh. Hi Maha. Deepak. Hello. Hello everyone. Am I audible? Okay. Can someone confirm if I am audible? Okay. Is there any delay? Let's see. Hello Piyush. Hi.
Hello, Abhishek. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You're audible to me. I'm not sure if you're audible in the stream. Maybe someone can confirm in the chat.
Yeah. Can someone confirm if both of us are audible? People just started joining.
Yep. Hello, Deepak. Hello, Abuzar. Oh, yes. So someone mentioned yes, you are audible. Okay, we are
Perfect.
good.
Perfect. Yeah. Let's give some more time
Mhm.
uh, so that we will have people join, and then we can start our discussion.
Sure.
Great. Okay, we have
Okay, so people have started asking questions already. Can you please explain about headless service? Wait a minute, bro. Still, we just started it.
yeah, so we already have 288 people at this point.
Awesome.
Hey Piyush, I saw some bugs in your Docker sample app. Were those intentional? Okay, Piyush.
Which app you are talking about? So if you are talking about day one or day two video, there are no bugs in that. It's working perfectly fine. But in the later videos, there are some troubleshooting tasks that I have intentionally introduced some bugs into that. So please be specific about which video you are talking about. And yeah,
Perfect. Okay, we have 300 plus people. So yeah, we can start
wow,
our discussion. So, today's stream is about how do we learn practically through real time projects. Of course, I have talked this before, but I want to, take another live stream on this because it is very important for people transitioning. Do something real time, showcase your skills, right? Everybody learns. It's not that I get to work on everything in my organization or Piyush gets to work on everything in the organization. So whenever we are learning something, it's the practical that we do, the projects that we do, that will help us learning that particular topic, right? So in today's video, in the conversation and by taking some people onto the stream, we will talk how you can identify real time projects apart from those which are available on YouTube. Additionally, how you can make use of GitHub, so that you can get these things, right? There is one question. Okay, we will pick up questions. So first thing is, I will tell you my approach. Then we will also ask Piyush. So the thing is, whenever I want to learn something, let's say I want to learn GitHub Actions. Okay, and okay, sample to do application is the one that I would definitely start with. I will not start with a project that is very complicated, because initially I want to get the feel of GitHub Actions. So always start with to do applications only, either to do applications or simple, uh, you know, even if it's a HTML static application that you are deploying and learning GitHub Actions, that is fine. Everybody would do that. Then the next thing is, there are a lot of open source projects that are available on GitHub. For example, let me share my screen and show you a few things. I have made a video on this as well, but still, share the screen. So you can see that, let's say I want to search for something, you can just go for GitHub. Okay, within GitHub has hundreds and thousands of projects. I think many people here already know about GitHub. So it's a platform where you can host your source code, and there are thousands of projects, open source projects, where people have hosted their source code specially for the purpose of demonstrations. For example, if you look at one of the complex projects that I would like to show here, just go for Open Telemetry GitHub demo app. Okay, so there is something called Open Telemetry demo. Piyush, can you see my screen?
Yes, Abhishek, it's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to this, now this is a demo application that people at Open Telemetry use to demonstrate the Open Telemetry platform. So here it also explains about the project. This repository contains Open Telemetry Astronomy Shop. That means it's a e-commerce kind of platform, a demo application where they are selling products related to astronomy. It's a microservice based distributed system, illustrate the implementation of Open Telemetry. That means they are using it to explain Open Telemetry to their clients, customers, or the open source users. And these demo applications, they are as good as real-time applications, where if you go to the demo documentation, this is one such example. There are hundreds of these things that are available on the GitHub repository. So you can see it has accounting service, ad service, cart service, checkout. So this project is made with almost, I think, 10 microservices, right? And the application is developed using all of these things. Intentionally they have done it. They could have written entire project just in Java or just in Python, but anybody who is practicing with this demo application, they can get feel of different programming languages and different microservices. So that's why they have intentionally complicated the project by making use of different programming languages. Another advantage that you can get is you can see the complete architecture diagram also. Now, I have 10 years experience, and let me tell you, this is a complicated application even for a project. I mean, a real time project, because different microservices are talking to each other. There is a queuing service, which is Kafka. There is a load generator, just like you get a feel of thousands of users accessing your application. Similarly, you also have Redis as a caching service. What else can you expect? When you like take the best example is, recently I have demonstrated a DevOpsify or DevOpsification project where I've used a to-do application. Now what you can do is, instead of to-do application, initially you can start with part of this entire project. Don't go to the entire project. I mean, you will take almost, I mean, a lot of time if you want to implement this particular entire project, because you are a beginner. What you can do is pick up one of the service, like take the checkout service. You can see checkout service is basically written in which programming language. It should be somewhere here. Yeah, checkout service is written in Go programming language itself. Now you have the base of my YouTube channel, where you already know how to DevOpsify a Go project. I mean, DevOpsify is the name that we have given, but you know how to implement end-to-end DevOps on a Go application. Take that project as reference, do it for checkout service, do it for product catalog, and do it for the product catalog service. Source code is available in the GitHub repository. So as we go through this live session, I will also showcase, I mean, I will also show more and more such projects. So this is the first example that I want to start with in today's live session. Now, let me ask Piyush's opinion also. Like, Piyush, what do you think? Is this the right approach?
Yes, absolutely, Abhishek. This is what I also do. So even like this, someone asked the same question in the weekend live stream I was doing this Sunday, and I actually answered in the same way like you did. So first, I try to understand the fundamentals of which tool or technology that I'm using, and once I have that basic understanding, I try to use that in a simple project. It could be a hello world project. It could be a simple to do application. the simplest possible form of a project that it can be. Once I
Hmm.
do that, then I try to implement the same what I've learned and implemented in a complex architecture project. Okay. And then I
Exactly.
think about how can I implement more best practices to it, how can I secure it more, and how can I make it more scalable, highly available, and fault tolerant. I also try to read a lot of engineering blogs around the same, or white papers, and see, and I try to match it with my project, whether I have incorporated all the best practices or not, whether my project is as per the industry standards or not. So all those things. So yes, around the same line that you have mentioned, that is what I also do, and that is what I also recommend. Because the problem is when someone is working on to do application, a lot
Hmm.
of noise around there is, don't work on to do application, or don't work on the clone application.
Exactly.
It is
Yeah.
kind of true if you are a developer, if you are, let's say, a full stack developer or a front end developer. It is kind of true, but in case of cloud and DevOps, that doesn't matter, right? If you are using a to do application, or if you are using a simple hello world application.
Yeah.
So because our main focus is, if we are implementing all the DevOps tools and technologies, all the DevOps methodologies in that or not, if we are implementing all the best practices, making it scalable, hosting it on a server or not. Yes, like that could be your first step of using a to do app, but then you have to take it to the next level, because you cannot just say in your interview that this is what I've implemented, right? So this is for the basic understanding, and then you move on to the next level, like you have mentioned. Pick a little complex project than just a to
Yeah.
do application.
Exactly. In the to-do application, for example, I might have thought about Golang based to-do application. You can replace that with, like I showed in the open telemetry, pick up a service, and source code is also available. You can try with that. Or there are endless options that are available on the GitHub. Okay, let's see if there are any valid questions. Yeah, thanks, Guru. Guru is moderating the chat. Thank you. How to set up egress in Kubernetes. So one thing I can tell you, I think if you're using a managed Kubernetes cluster, let's say you're using OpenShift. So every managed Kubernetes cluster has their way of setting up egress. In OpenShift, you have a custom resource called as proxy. Okay, so cluster proxy. So you can use that cluster proxy, which is a cluster wide resource in OpenShift, and you can use your Apache or Nginx or HA proxy, anything. You can configure it as your egress proxy, and then you can use the environment variables. For each pod, you have to configure the environment variable, that is your HTTP proxy, HTTPS proxy, and the no proxy. So once you set up these environment variables, automatically your pod will go through that egress configuration. We will do some video on egress. Yeah, thanks for asking. Okay, any questions related to the real-time projects? Like, let's give that priority. Uh, so Abuzar is asking Abhishek and Piyush, can you please come up with project and DevOpsified? Sure. We have done one last week. I mean, I've done last week one. This week we are going to release one more DevOpsify project that is even better on a month stack application, and we have also automated the infrastructure using Terraform and infrastructure pipeline using Jenkins. Maybe in future, Piyush and I will also do something. It will be interesting. Do some mock test. Okay. Okay, ask anything if you have related to the real time projects. If you have any question, like what Piyush and I explained, like you can search for GitHub, take YouTube videos as reference. Do you have any questions in that? Hello, Piyush. Love from Vizag. Great content. Sai has put this. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sai.
Thank you, Sai. Thank you so much.
How to motivate yourself even if you are working hard and not getting any interview calls. See, I'll tell you one thing. If you are not getting interview calls, one thing that you should do is, first of all, see what you are doing wrong. Okay, you might be working hard, you might be practicing things, you might be implementing things, but end of the day, it's your resume, it's your LinkedIn profile, and Naukri if you're in India. These are the things that matter. See if you're doing good with those things as well, because recruiter will not know how hard you are working. Recruiter will only see your profiles, and if this profile fits in their criteria, they will get back to you. So try to focus on these things as well, along with your working hard. That is great.
Abhishek, maybe we can take this question where it says, I have seen a lot of applications from Madhu Pandey.
I have
Yeah.
seen a lot of applications that don't have proper README files to run the application. How can we understand how to run that project? Yeah, this is a good question, Madhu. One thing I'll tell you is, don't pick up such projects. Okay, because that itself tells that that project is not maintained. Okay, and that project is not active also. When you pick up that projects, it is not only problem of building of that project might have dependency issues, that project might be very outdated, right? So what will happen, you will lose the interest, because when you try to build, you will face some issues. When you try to deploy, you will face some issues, and this issue will be from the development point of view. If it's a DevOps issue, you can fix. But let's say it's a MERN stack application, you don't know MERN stack, and issues with respect to the code, I would say don't pick up such projects. There are so many on GitHub, so avoid such projects.
Yeah, because what will happen is, you will spend a lot of time in fixing those issues, and you will end up getting fed up, and you will end up getting, frustrated, and you will think about that you might be doing something wrong. So
Exactly.
it won't be good for your learning and for your self motivation. So yes, as Abhishek suggested, so try to avoid those projects. There is a lot of project already available with the proper readme file, proper documentation that you can use, so you can pick any of those.
100%. Yeah. I think lot of us, I mean, see, people who are acquainted with open source, they know how to make better use of GitHub. But I think a lot of people still look at GitHub as a version control system, which is true. But beyond that, GitHub is also a collaboration platform. Especially why GitHub has become so popular is because it is hosting a lot of code, and people can collaborate using pull request issues, right? People can collaborate on the docs as well, GitHub gist files. So better try to spend more time on GitHub and identify the right project for your purpose. Okay, Piyush, I think you can take this question. Is it a good
Is this
practice to include modules in Terraform every time?
It's I would say it's a good practice, because when you are working on personal projects, you hardly create modules, because let's say you have picked up a project that is not complex enough or not big enough that you will be creating modules. And because modules are nothing but the reusable piece of code that you can reuse in the same project or multiple projects. So generally what happens is, as a best practice, you create those modules and then you push up to a repository. And
Yeah.
every time that you create a new Terraform repository for a new application, you want to reuse the existing modules that you have created. So that's when you do. But when you do it for a personal project, sometimes you just oversee that fact and you don't use that module. But it is a good practice. Creating your modules is a good practice. Using the modules is a good practice, because when you see the things at scale, when you will scale your project, when you will scale your application to what it is right now, to a larger number, to a larger extent, then yes, module will be very helpful. So it is the same reason why we want to use functions in a program. We could just write entire thing multiple times, right? But we want to use function because of the code readability, maintainability, and so that we can reuse the same function at multiple places. So the same reason.
Yeah, that is great. There is one question from Dibyendu Mahata. That is, I have used Java based application, pod memory continuously increasing, and I have tried increasing the replicas as well. How to resolve this issue? See, first thing is that's a very wrong approach of increasing the replicas, because if your application is leaking memory, in this term is called as leaking memory. That means it is using more memory than required. Initially you might have deployed that Java application, let's say with 4 GB RAM in the Kubernetes resources. You initially thought it would take 4 GB RAM. Let's say it is leaking memory, you increase the size from 4 to 6, then to 8, then you have scaled up your node, you went up to 10, still your application is crashing. The problem is that what you need to do, first take the thread dump and the heap dump of the application. Now in Java you can collect the thread dump and the heap dump, and share that thread dump and heap dump with the developers and ask them to perform the analysis. Now, I mean, I was uh, working on Java applications before, and I also do development on Go right now. So by looking at the threads, I can use something like JStack, or I can use the thread viewers, and I can understand which thread, if a Java application is a multi-threaded application, so they can understand which thread is actually leaking the memory, and they will fix the application. So as a DevOps engineer, your responsibility is to go to the pod, collect the information like the thread dump and the heap dump, and share that with the developers. Once they fix it, then you can deploy the new version. But don't go and increase the memory, even if the developers are asking to do that. Developers might ask you to do that because it's easy for them. Like, you scale up the node and the issue might be solved temporarily. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at another real-time project, right? So let me share my screen. Was I sharing screen till now? No, right?
No, not right now. But when you were showing open telemetry, then you were. Yeah,
Now,
it's
see,
visible now. Yeah.
yeah, again, there are a lot of people who like working with Java. So I'm going to show you one more Java-based open source project, which is quite popular for the demos itself. Lot of projects I know, they use this particular thing for demo, which is the Spring Pet Clinic application. You can see it has like 23.2 folks and 7.5K stars. So a lot of people use this Spring Pet Clinic. A lot of companies use this particular open source project for demonstrating, if they are, let's say, an observability platform, or if they are, let's say, a platform that works on the uh, resource utilization of a Java application. So they use this Spring Pet Clinic. And in your resume, if you want to showcase experience on the Java applications, like you want to demonstrate that you have experience on the Java applications, what you can do is you can use this Spring Pet Clinic, try to implement DevOps on this particular project. Again, it's not a to do application kind of a thing. It has multiple microservices, and once deployed, it has a proper readme file also. It shows what are the steps, how you can uh, build this application, how you can uh, run this application locally. Now it's your turn. You go and containerize this application, create the Kubernetes manifest, deploy it, implement CI/CD, create Helm charts, create an ingress resource for this. This is another example project, right? So if you are a Java guy, or if you want to showcase yourself as a DevOps engineer who worked on the Java related things, then here you go. This example project is going to help you. Okay, let's see. Are there any questions for us?
There are a lot of questions, but I'm just trying to find anything
Yeah,
related
yeah.
to real-time
I
projects.
have I have problem to how to DevOps related research. Problem with to select area to do research. I did not understand this.
Even I did not get it.
Yeah, please stop spamming. There is no point of spamming, right? There are only 350 people, so you can easily ask your question, wait for your turn. Out of 350 people, not everyone comments also. So please don't spam. Okay, this is one question. Piyush, what is your opinion? Like, developers are learning DevOps,
So
so it
there,
impacts DevOps.
yeah, there will always be a thin line, even though developers will learn the project. So no hate against the developers. It's just, you know, no one can do everything, right? For
Yeah,
example, if there is a DevOps guy, there is already a huge list of roles and responsibilities that a DevOps or cloud engineer would perform on a daily basis. And the same way, developers has their own roles and responsibilities. They have to write code, implement new features, run testing, like on test cases, execute them. Plus they also have to work on bugs. Sometimes, if they are working as a level 3, they have to work on the production of bugs as well, and so on. So not everyone can do everything. So those roles are meant to be, separate from each other, so that one person or one team can focus on a specific domain and an area, and there is not a lot of overlap between that. So if you are a developer, if you were a developer before and now you are transitioning into DevOps, then you will have some extra edge, because you know how to write an application, you know how to, like for example, Abhishek creates a project. If
hmm.
you are someone who don't know any programming language, then it will be difficult for you to, write even a basic code, and which you can use to create a project out of it. But if you are someone who's a developer, you can create an end-to-end project, a big complex application which has a specific use case, and try to implement all the DevOps life cycle into that. So then you will have an extra edge on top of what others does not have, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
would say, yeah, I would say, like, it's still even though developers are still learning DevOps tools, because as part of their job, let's say they are trying to containerize an application. Okay, so for that they have to understand containers, how to write Docker file, how to containerize an application. So to some
hmm,
extent, they would know how to work with DevOps tools and technologies, but they
yeah,
cannot work on everything. Developers don't work on production environment. When it comes to production, you as the DevOps engineer will take care of that. So
yeah.
don't worry about it.
See, also it's about the training and the mindset. You know,
Yeah.
uh, as a DevOps engineer, you build that mindset and the culture. You know, what is a developer mindset? Developer mindset is to run the application. As a developer, when I am working on an application, I will never think about resources. My first point of view would be to get this application. If I want scaling of the application, I will create the resources. I will scale it to 5 nodes on Kubernetes. I don't mind, right? As a developer, I want my application. Of course, there are some developers who are conscious, but we are talking about the general mindset. So that developer would create a 5 node Kubernetes cluster just for a simple to do application with 5 replicas. What's wrong with it? Like, the application is running, and you can say developer has implemented DevOps, but it's the mindset. Now I can also write an application. It's not that many DevOps engineers know Python, many DevOps engineers know Golang, and they can write the applications. But why don't we write the applications? That is because you don't think as a developer, and they don't think as a DevOps engineer. So it's common in software development lifecycle. Everyone has a role, and there is a reason why everyone has a role. Okay, so we have
Wow,
Shubham
Mr.
as well.
Shubham, how are you?
doing well, amazing. Good to see
It's
you both.
it's good to see you too after such a long time. How you been?
Yeah. I think I'm coming live with you and Abhishek after 1 year
Yeah, it's
after
been yeah, it's
DevOps
been a
pe
long time.
Charcha.
Yes.
I
Good to
think
see you,
more
man.
time. Nice, nice.
Wow,
What are you having?
great to
Coffee?
great to have both of you. Now I'm sure that all the questions of the subscribers will be, you will put all the questions to answer. I'm very sure and super excited.
Super amazing. It's 11 here. Amazing. So first time I'm going live at this time.
I usually
Super.
go. I usually go at this time. We have 350 people also. We have 350 people live
Great.
now.
Amazing.
No, it's my usual time.
Nice, nice, amazing. Good,
I think
good, amazing.
I'm working in the US hours. No, Piyush Bhai
Oh,
should get Canada.
Yeah, it's my
uh,
lunchtime. Currently, my lunchtime is going on, so I'm doing the stream.
I work in Australian time zone, so it's 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Oh, nice.
Perfect. Now
Okay.
ask questions. Piyush and Shubham are ready to answer anything related to real-time DevOps projects. Uh, and I'm also going to continue. Like till now, I have showcased a open telemetry demo application. We have seen Spring Boot Pet Clinic application. We will also see more. Meanwhile, if there are any good questions, we'll pick up from the chat section.
I really liked that project which you shared, the example voting app, which
Yeah,
has a worker node, which is, I think, .NET one. It's a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good application.
Yeah, I also use the same in one of my videos in the Kubernetes series. So I guess there was a question about it that it has some bugs, right? So yes, if you are talking about, I guess it was Abhinay or someone who was talking about it has some bugs. So if you are talking about that application, voting example application, so because that application I have used as part of the application troubleshooting videos, and
hmm.
it was a task to fix those
Oh,
bugs in the application. So yes, if you
nice.
are facing the issues in that, so that is intentional.
See,
Oh,
Yeah.
there might be some new people. So this was the first thing that I have showcased. Shubham
yeah.
also has joined recently. Like similarly, many other people might have joined. So this is the demo application, Open Telemetry demo application. I think
Okay.
this is a super complicated one that I have seen, where
Mhm.
if you look at the documentation and if you go to the architecture of it, I think
Wow.
it's as good as any any organization. Like some startups also might have a similar architecture. It's a
Correct.
e-commerce application where
Hmm.
this e-commerce application is selling astronomy related products, space related
Okay.
products, where there are like 10 microservices written in all of these programming languages. There is a caching service, there is a queuing service which is Kafka, there is a fake load generator. So what I was suggesting is, don't jump onto the entire project. Of course it will
Hmm.
be practically impossible. What you can do, if you have learned, let's say, CI/CD of Java application from Shubham's channel, what you can do is identify, like you can see the brown here. So it says that add service is written in Java. Okay,
Java. Hmm.
go to the GitHub repository of this and look at the Java source code. Take Shubham's video as reference, or Piyush's video as reference, or my video as reference, and implement end-to-end DevOps for just the add service. Even if you go to a company, you will not work on the entire project at once. You will work service to service, because each service need to have its entire DevOps setup. Let's say you want to implement .NET. There is card service and there is accounting service. So eventually, like, you will take, I think, 2 to 3 weeks to implement this entire project. So step by step you can do the end-to-end DevOps. And if you showcase this in your resume, I think there is no going back.
Hmm. Yeah,
There
it's a
is
really good
there
project.
is one more project, Abhishek, similar to this. So if you can showcase that as well, it's
Yeah, sure.
called Bank of Anthos,
Hmm.
and this is an open source project by Google Cloud, and it's a simulation of an online banking application, and it
Amazing.
has similar setup like multiple microservices written in all written in different languages. It has database, Redis cache, and everything else. So that is
Definitely.
also an amazing project. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think again we will take some time, some questions, and then we will come back to another project as well. I have
Yeah.
written down few things. So let's
So there
look
is
at.
one question: which CI/CD tool is best suited for current market?
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
go ahead, Shubham.
I don't think that current market or any CI, it depends on the company and the size or which tech stack which you are using. So the company which I where I work, they use GitLab CI, and they don't even use Argo CD. And in my previous company, we were using Circle CI. Before that, we were using Jenkins. So it's nothing like if something is currently in trend, according to me. If a company is thinking that this tech stack is perfect for them, perfect for their use case, I think that's something which they generally look at. What do you think? Is it
Yeah,
something which is trending?
no, that's perfect because the other day I posted something about uh, the next DevOpsify project that we are doing on the channel, and
Hmm.
someone commented like, "Why are you doing with Jenkins? Nobody is using Jenkins in the market." Uh,
Hmm.
a funny thing is that currently at Red Hat in our project we are using Jenkins. So I mean, see, I'll tell you, like Shubham mentioned, it depends on the requirement. It depends on every CI/CD has its own benefit, right? Some
Correct.
people might not want to use GitLab. They might want to use Jenkins because they don't need a managed service. They might want to have their entire setup, authentication, configuration, everything local to their system. Or,
Hmm.
you know, the DevOps team which is already there, their strong zone might be Jenkins. So they might have started the entire project with Jenkins also. So
Correct.
the thing is, you can ask what is the latest CI/CD platform that is available, but best CI/CD platform depends on the organization. They will pick up according to their requirements.
That's true. And
Perfect.
it's not about the tool that you are using, it's about the process that you are following. CI/CD process will remain same, doesn't matter which tool you are using, or even if you are moving from one tool to another tool. The process will remain same. The syntax will be different. The entire what do you call, the entire pipeline syntax will change, but that's all about it. So,
Yeah.
and when it comes to learning, what I would suggest start with something that in which you have to set up everything from scratch. For example, Jenkins, right? In Jenkins you have to integrate each and every tool by yourself, whether it's about Jenkins agents, or any which is like a self-hosted runner or something else in GitHub Actions or Bitbucket pipeline, right? So, and you have to integrate all the tools by yourself, and Jenkins is just a framework that ties all those tools together. So first try to understand that process, try to use that for a beginner's perspective, and then try to move to a modern tools which is, let's say, written in YAML, like GitLab CI/CD, Azure DevOps, Bitbucket CI/CD. So those are the market standards. YAML based syntax is what most of the CI/CD tools are using. So try to learn at least one tool that uses this syntax, and you can easily move from one tool to another. It was never about tools. So DevOps was never about tool. It started as a mindset. It started
Mind.
as you know a role that bridges the gap between developers and operations team. And we do that with the help of tools. We use these tools which makes our life easier. So even if you have worked on one tool, you can easily move to another tool. You can easily learn a new tool because
Mm,
concept will remain the same. The ideology behind running those tools will remain the same, and so on.
mm. No,
Absolutely.
perfect. Absolutely right. And one more thing that I would like to add up is which tool. Okay, I think we touched 400 live participants,
Wow.
and
Oh wow.
Wow.
yeah.
That's huge.
Okay.
And considering like most of the viewers are from India, and at this late during the night they are watching. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
Let me
someone.
see how many of you how many of them are actually from India. So, if you are watching from India, so drop a boom in the chat and let me know how much energy Indians do carry. Let's see how many Indians are there.
I think majority will be there. Yeah.
My society is
Pune,
also
India,
now awake, I think.
Ghana, Ghana. Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
Germany.
one thing
Wow.
I would like to add up is like while we look at the chat section, to Piyush's answer is that okay, Abhishek, like which CI/CD tool would you start with? Like if I'm learning DevOps, see, I always believe in focusing on jobs. Like I want to get a job, so what I will do is I'll just do a research, go to LinkedIn, take 15 profiles, 20 profiles. I will just see which is most asked in the job description, because end of the day whatever I'm learning for a job. So if you are asking that question today, and today if most of the people are asking for Jenkins, I'll learn Jenkins. Next
Hmm.
month or two, I mean it doesn't change for every month, but let's say 6 months later, if someone is asking about GitLab, then obviously Shubham does not have to tell you, Piyush does not have to tell you, Abhishek does not have to tell you. You need to focus on GitLab. So that should be your practical approach. Go to LinkedIn, understand what people are expecting, and focus on those things for your learning.
Yeah, I think this is very good advice. So I never used GitLab because all of my applications, a few were on Circle CI, few were on GitHub Actions, and mostly on Jenkins. But a lot of requests used to come that, hey, I don't know what is GitLab, how to go for it. And I remember in 2018, my company was starting with GitLab, not the CI part, just having the code base there. So I started exploring, and just random post I posted about GitLab, I got a email from someone saying that, hey, we are looking for GitLab solutions. I saw your post related to that. Would you be interested to provide a solution for that? So
Wow.
I got a freelancing opportunity just because a LinkedIn post about GitLab something, and that was so crazy that just something which I think I saw Piyush Bhai's video. It was a 1.5 hour video on full course on GitLab. So it's one of the popular video of your channel.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It
it
is
helped
one
me
of
a lot.
the, like, that video has most number of views in my
Yeah.
channel. Even though when I created it, the quality was not that great. Uh, there were part of the videos where the screen was not clearly visible. Even though it gained a lot of popularity because it's all about demand and supply. At that
Correct.
time, there were not a lot of GitLab specific videos on YouTube, and
Hmm.
when I created that, it got the attraction. And same thing happened with you, because GitLab was really new at that time, and there were not a lot of expertise in the market. It's about demand and supply, so they reached out to you and, checked with you whether you have worked with it or not, or you want to work with us or not. So sometimes this also helps, when there is something that is new in the market and it has
Hmm.
started gaining popularity.
Yeah.
There'll be a very limited number of people in the market. If we compare that with the cloud, let's say everyone was learning AWS since past 10,
AWS.
15 years, right? And then when Azure, GCP, all these cloud came, there were not a lot of people who had experience working with Azure or GCP. So companies
Hmm.
started looking for and giving, more package to the folks that have Azure or GCP experience, because the scarcity of the demand and the supply in the market at that time. So same thing over here as well.
Perfect.
Nice.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. Good suggestions from both of you. Just scouting through the uh, chat section to see if there is anything. Meanwhile, someone posted like, "I want to create CI/CD. There is something email build fails. Like, what is the failure? It depends on that, right? So there are plugins in GitHub. There are actions. Um, I mean, in your GitHub workflow, there are actions for the email. So
Sandy.
in that action, if something is failing, we need to take a look at that, right? Himanshu, please don't spam the chat section. We will do SRE 0 to 0 series. Okay, request taken. Okay, like let me ask one question.
Yeah.
That is not here, but I think it will help people. So I want both of you to answer. Like, let's say someone is working as a DevOps engineer and they are already working as DevOps engineer. Unfortunately, let's say it's a banking company or it's a financial company. where they are using a lot of internal tools. Okay,
Hmm.
so if you are in their position, okay, how would you showcase the skills for switching to the next company? Because if you worked on internal tools, maybe people will not be interested in recruiting you. So what will you people do in such cases?
I would be focusing on the foundational knowledge of that candidate.
Hmm.
Like
No,
all
no,
the
you are
all
the candidate.
sorry.
You are the candidate.
Oh, I am the candidate. Okay, I
Yeah,
have to showcase my skills.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Like,
So
what
I
will
will
you do?
make sure that, first of all, whatever the questions are being asked, I'll try to translate that in a general term. For example, if they ask me a question about, let's say, GCP, and I have never worked with GCP, and it happened with me, right? I never worked with GCP when I was interviewing with Google. So I
Hmm.
translated my answer in the same format, but I took AWS as the reference. So I told them I never worked with GCP, but I worked with AWS and Azure. So I'll try to frame my answer based on what I know, and because it is similar, like cloud computing concept remain the same whether you are in AWS or GCP, it doesn't matter, right? Load balancer will still be the load balancer irrespective of the cloud. Virtual machine will be the virtual machine. The name will change, the format will change, but that's all about it. So I try to answer in that format, and also I try to, sometimes, in most of the companies it happens like interviewer has a set of questions, and
Hmm.
they ask you about that, right? But
Yeah.
many a times they ask you impromptu question based on your resume, based on your replies. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
sometimes you have this opportunity to drive the discussion as per you, as per your knowledge, as per your discussions. So what I would do is I would try to focus more on the things that I think I'm good at, you know and
Hmm.
and I'm just giving them, like, this is what I know, and I'm giving them an opportunity to ask me the question from those things that I know, you
Hmm.
know so that is what I would do. And on the other side, if I were an interviewer, so what I would do is I would focus on the core fundamental skill. For example, if I'm hiring a developer and I'm using, let's say, an in-house programming language. For example, let's say Google made something, some programming language, and I'm hiring for that role. So I would test the candidate based on their foundational knowledge, maybe DSA, maybe system design knowledge, their cognitive ability, their analytical thinking, and all those aspects. Irrespective of the syntax, irrespective of the language, I would try to see how that candidate is trying to approach a problem, the the hypothesis that they are making, the assumptions that they are making, the questions that they are asking, and all those things.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Nice. So for me, let's give it a try. So don't judge me, or maybe you can. So let me interview for that role. So Abhishek, if you can just start the interview with that question, tell me about.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, Shubham, what do you, which kind of tools do you actively work on your day-to-day basis? And can you explain or walk you through your day-to-day life working as a DevOps?
Thanks. Amazing. Thanks a lot, Abhishek. So, firstly, let me introduce myself. This is Shubham, and I've been working as a DevOps engineer for the past 5 years in the banking domain, where our core intention was to build the integrity and security of our in house platform, which was on premise servers. I made sure that the entire security, the networking was handled by me. And being that go to person who has all the networking fundamentals and all the security related stuff which is going on in my company, I would like to expand my knowledge and look for more such tools. As you asked what tools I use, I generally use tools like Wireshark for my the network packet dispatch, and I use tools like Python for automating all of my stuff. So I'm
Hmm.
really good with these. Internally, we use our own Jenkins servers where we have our deployment. We rarely touch open source because being a banking platform, we have a very keen detail on what all stars, what all folks, what all is going on in an open source repository. So we have our in-house tools. So being that said, I'm really looking forward to join your company and work on some amazing tools that you have.
Perfect. See, I mean, Shubham did not explain the answer. He directly put himself in the candidate role. And I think if I am interviewing, I'll definitely be interested, because instead of just saying, instead of just starting the line saying I don't have experience in lot of DevOps tools, he
Hmm.
convinced the interviewer saying what kind of expertise Shubham has, and why they cannot use any public open source applications because of the problems that they have, and how he has addressed that. So amazing.
Yeah, so
That's why
most of the times, most
getting
of
a
the
lot of
time it's not
interviews.
about what you know. It's about what can you do with the knowledge and skills that you have. What more can you
Hmm.
do? What can you bring to the table? So you can always say, I am willing to learn this new tool because this new tool is something that I have worked with previously. Not the same tool, but something similar to that. Like if
Hmm.
you are interviewing for, let's say, GitLab CI/CD pipeline, you could say, I have worked with Jenkins, which is similar to GitLab, and I'm willing to put my extra effort to learn a new tool. It's just a new tool and the fundamentals will remain the same. So you can always say
Perfect.
that.
Yeah.
Amazing. There is one question. What is the role of Golang in DevOps, like Python? I think many people might have that question. So thing is that, see, Python is used for automation, right? And many of you might be using AWS, so like if you want to use lambda functions or serverless functions, or let's say you want to use Boto3 module to talk to the API of AWS, right? In such cases you use Python. I think many people know why Python is used. We also have a Python playlist. Otherwise, like if you're talking about Golang, now the use cases are very interesting. For example, why we use Golang, I'll tell you. For example, in my organization, we want to extend the capabilities of Kubernetes. That is, let's say we have a requirement where we need to develop our own custom resource of Kubernetes. We need to develop the CRD and the custom resource. Now, Kubernetes has Go libraries, client Go. Kubernetes also has Python for that, Java also for that. But the most stable one is the client Go libraries. So everyone tries to use the client Go libraries to extend the Kubernetes capabilities. That's one of the main reasons. Otherwise, Prometheus is also written in Go, Kubernetes is written in Go, Docker is written in Go. If you want to contribute to them, if you want to extend any of these things, or even if you want to write serverless functions, you can go ahead and write in Go programming language. So these are some of the use cases.
Yeah, I remember when in 2018 when I was working in a startup. So we had one small problem that
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of requests coming up from users, and it was causing the server huge, you know, some kind of problem. So what we did, we created a small Telegram bot written in Go. So there was an internal hackathon. I did not know Go, and my CTO, he was an expert in that. So we created. It was a hackathon to create a bot to address these user queries using Telegram or some kind of API. The tool which I wrote in Python versus the tool my CTO wrote in Go. The Go one got more, it was better, and it is still being used in that particular use case. So I think, for such kind of third party integrations also, Go is good if you want to use internal APIs.
I mean,
We,
the multi-threading capability of Go is
yeah.
much better
Hmm.
because Python, because of the reasons it cannot support multi-threading natively.
Hmm.
So Go is addressed to, developed to address such challenges, where the
Correct.
multi-threading of Go is very good, and even the simplicity, both Python and Go are very easy to write.
True.
Okay, now let's go to another real-time project before we go to the questions. So
Nice.
we will keep seeing few things in this stream. So now another application, which is one of my favorites. I have used this in
Mhm.
my AWS Zero to Hero and also in my Azure Zero to Hero, is this IBM Robot Shop. So it's a e-commerce application, demo e-commerce application developed by IBM. So what this project does is it will create an e-commerce application which sells robots. Okay, very
Okay.
interesting. So again, this is developed in multiple programming languages. All of
Wow.
these are microservices, and there is RabbitMQ. In the previous project, they were using Apache Kafka. Here, these people are using RabbitMQ. They are also using MongoDB for DB, Redis for caching. So again, once this project run locally, you will see a lot of services interacting with each other. What you can do, just like we discussed before, pick up one of the service of it. Let's say you want to start with Node.js. So you can start with Node.js part of this particular application, then go to Java part, then go to the Python part. How can you do that? Like, you can see this is one microservice, catalog. Go to the catalog microservice. It is written in Node.js, right? Go to, let's say, I think dispatch is written in Go, if I remember. Yeah. So dispatch is written in Go. I mean, I've used this multiple times, so I remember it. So you can implement CI/CD for the dispatch service. Then go to the Mongo service. Then finally think about how you can connect these services within Kubernetes. Of course, we have already done it on the Azure Zero to Hero playlist, but this is another example. It might take some 15-20 days for implementing CI/CD on each of these services, and how can you connect each other.
So nice project. Oh,
Yeah,
good one.
very nice.
Hmm.
Okay,
So
now
one question from my side related to the starting on open telemetry.
hmm,
So we don't use open telemetry in our organization, but there was a lot of talk about it. That open telemetry, should we use it? I don't exactly know what exactly it does. Is it for logging or metrics
like
calculation?
open telemetry is, I mean, I'll give you one simple thing, like why we use open telemetry. Of course,
Hmm.
that project is a demo application that is
Correct.
developed by open telemetry, so that they
Hmm.
can showcase their open telemetry to their clients. But it is used, for example, let's say I'm working for Red Hat, right? And
Hmm.
now Red Hat wants to know how many customers are using OpenShift in their production. Along with that, how many customers are using a particular service of OpenShift. There are add-ons, there are plugins, right?
Hmm.
Right? If you go to EKS, also there are plugins. If you go to Red Hat OpenShift, there are a lot of plugins. Now, how will you get that information? So telemetry can be used basically to get that information, where you can get the updates of your application, kind of monitoring, but in a different way.
Okay.
Basically to get the details of the deployed application, or any
Hmm.
insights, how many requests it is receiving, how frequently they are
Oh,
using that particular service, are they using in production or the dev, these kind of things.
got it. Nice, nice, interesting.
It's very good. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't. Open telemetry is basically open source. There are
Hmm.
many telemetry tools that are based on open telemetry, which are commercial versions, like that.
Okay. Great, great. Thanks.
Oh,
Superb.
we have Ravish also.
Oh.
Hello,
So
Ravish.
late
How are
night
you?
DevOps पे चर्चा.
Hi guys, क्या हाल चाल? Oh,
All
this is
good,
a
all
more
good.
like English thing.
English.
English,
English
yeah.
Hindi.
How's everyone?
Nice. How's Bangalore?
I'm in Kolkata right now.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah,
Amazing.
but Bangalore is awesome. Kolkata is like a bit humid. That's what I felt
Uh,
right now.
enjoy the food there. I really miss the sondesh and a lot of sweets which you only find in Kolkata.
Okay, my maternal uncle lives over here, so probably I'm going to meet them tomorrow, and
Hmm.
I'll bring Sandesh and Rasgulla, probably.
Nice.
Amazing.
Interview
So
guy
sir,
Ravish. So there is
Interview.
a there is a comment
Interview
for
guy.
you. It says,
So the world knows you for good.
it's been 6 months, man. haven't put anything. It's been 6 months. Almost 6 months.
Yeah, Ravish is
So
on a break.
anything.
Actually, Ravish is on a parental break, so he will come back very strong with
Oh,
all
nice.
the
I
things
didn't
that.
know that. Congratulations, Ravish. Or
Yeah.
maybe did we
I mean
know?
that
Oh, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
an
yeah.
old news.
Yeah, I
No,
do
no,
know.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It is I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
it is
I
continuing.
remember it now. Yes. Amazing.
Been
Yeah,
one
yeah.
year,
I'm
right?
I'm a bit busy on actually I work on night shift these days. So kind
Okay.
of don't have much time in the morning, so couldn't do a lot of things.
So
But
two
this is good,
jobs now.
right? Yeah, getting some space on the internet with all of you. And it's been long, right? We covered like 1 year back, I guess, we
Yeah,
all
we
of
were
us.
talking about that. When Shubham joined, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's good. We should do
Interview
this
wale
often.
bhaiya.
Interview wale bhaiya. Someone posted.
Yeah.
Good. We should be
Okay.
doing another round of DevOps pe charcha,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel.
Probably, probably, yeah, we can start. I also want to get into it. I mean, probably by next month, September, I'll start doing something. And अभी तो काफी kind of busy. So even I'm working right now. तो मैंने देखा like you have put some messages over there. So I said let's do for 5 minutes. Then I'll start continuing on my work.
Great.
Amazing. Now let's see if you
Yeah.
have any questions for Ravish also. Let's let's
Like
see.
if anyone has any question, let me know.
Yeah. So we are doing DevOps project related things. We have seen 3 projects till now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
some real time projects what people can use, uh, which are
Mm-hmm.
available on GitHub. Uh, Apart from that, we are also picking questions. So
Mm-hmm. If anyone wants to ask anything, people might have forgotten me by now.
uh, okay, Avara is repeating this question. Please don't spam. Let's see what is it.
What?
I want to add monitoring on 20 server for 4xx and 5xx, okay, 4 series and 5 series. But I have more than 1000 applications on each server. Which tool can I use? I'm using Lemstack. You see, in the monitoring space right now, there are so many tools that are available. And I think I think you should go with, at this point of time, if you ask me, go with a observability platform that can also use eBPF, because it can get eBPF basically installs at the kernel level, so it gets a lot of insight about your network, right? Your kernel level, it sits at your kernel level, so it can also give you information about the network latency, your application latency. So yeah, straightforward answer if you ask me. I will also forward this question to others, but um, I think better you go with a platform that supports eBPF, because it will be a great benefit.
Nice.
Working on
I
cloud
saw,
platforms.
yeah,
Sorry.
I saw this person, Ankit Jodhani,
uh,
who was trending last year
The
for
yeah,
architecture diagrams. Yes.
yeah.
diagram.
Yes.
Yeah, he says he has some problem getting a job. Let's help him out.
Is it Ankit has posted? Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think I saw him.
yeah, I guess he
Okay.
posted that a long time back.
Iconic
Like,
photo of him in LinkedIn. I saw something
yes,
like that.
I guess what he was mentioning, I also saw that message that even though he had a lot of projects in his resume, he's not getting enough interview calls. So how to tackle that situation?
Yeah, we will get there. But
Hmm.
one thing is, you people are also working on different cloud platforms. So
Mhm.
what are the usual monitoring, or what is your monitoring stack preferred on the cloud platform? I'll get the charger. Meanwhile, you can answer the question.
Yeah.
I'll keep hearing.
So my company uses a lot of tools. Currently, we are using New Relic. Of a few services are also sending things to Datadog. Lot of things are happening. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
guess.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good, good, good.
Yes,
Good.
yes, Ravish.
In my last project, people were using
Your audio is breaking, Ravish.
I might have a bad internet. So
Yes.
in my last project, we were using Loki, Grafana, and Prometheus. Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, yes. I mean, your audio is still breaking, but I
And
heard that part.
okay. And in the other project, we are using mostly Azure App Insights. So these are like which I can remember right now. That's
Yes,
pretty
what
much.
I
In the
can
new
see,
project,
like, mhm. What I can
yeah,
see
go
based
ahead. Yeah.
on my experience, like, currently most of the companies are looking are working with Prometheus and Grafana when it comes to monitoring their Kubernetes workload. So if they are running
Hmm.
most of their applications on Kubernetes, so either they are using Prometheus Grafana stack, or they are using New Relic, Datadog, these kind of tools. So that's what I have observed. And yeah, you can do the POC in a smaller environment first. Try to see, like, as per your cost requirement, as per your performance requirement, and so on, and see what could be the better alternative, better tool that you can use in your project. But the way I see it, Prometheus Grafana is kind of an industry de facto these days. And because it is open source, and because of, you have a good community support. Plus, if you are not worried about licensing cost and all those things, then Datadog, New Relic, these tools are also really popular in the market.
Yeah, yeah. So
New
we
Relic
use
is
Datadog,
actually
and yeah, yes, Ravish.
so New Relic is actually a good tool, I think, but it's paid. So basically, you cannot do a POC on it,
Yep.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
Datadog is the same. Datadog is also the enterprise offering.
Okay. Yeah.
But then, most of the companies that are using Prometheus and Grafana, they prefer the paid version of Prometheus, because
Hmm.
you get, enterprise support along with it. So there is, like, in Google Cloud, we have Google Managed Prometheus, GMP, which
Yeah.
comes with, Prometheus and Grafana. Plus there is a support from Google Cloud, the dedicated support, and so on. So, the paid tools, even though they are open source, the paid comes with the enterprise support and few other offerings on top of what they currently have.
Yeah. So I was working on this Datadog. Now it was very new for me, and I had just joined this company. There was one task that add this source, and just check for the logs and monitor this particular application. And it was so easy to use Datadog as compared to other tools where we have to add the targets and so on. So the I feel the better enterprise ready application which you have, the usage and integrations become much more easier. So I think that's why Datadog people are preferring a lot, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
So
Where is Abhishek?
I see one question: in current market trend, DevOps enough or DevSecOps? What do you think in current market? I feel that every DevOps engineer should pay some attention towards security. And in the interview, you can straight away say that I keep security in my mind. So yeah, I think what else do we do for DevSecOps? I'm not very sure. Other than
uh,
Sonar Cube and quality analysis plus image scanning and some security for Kubernetes, what else we have?
I
okay, so
think
there is an
DevSecOps.
experience.
Yeah. No, go
No,
ahead. Go ahead. Ravish, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just add it. So I guess 6 months back, I was interviewing for Standard Chartered, and there's a separate position for this DevSecOps. And I mean, there was 3-4 round interview with a technical part, and there was 2 rounds for managerial interview. And that they really were asking questions related to security. I mean, DevOps and cloud is just fine. I mean, went through it, but so many questions on security, but I've not even heard about it. Okay, I mean, there was
no.
one question related to Chat GPT, and he asked me like, "Are you afraid of Chat GPT? And how are you putting things over there? What is running at the background?" The guy was in Singapore at that time, and he suggested me 6 books. Okay, he suggested me 6 books, and just a moment.
Yeah, maybe someone else can go.
Yeah,
Um,
so he suggested me 6 books actually, and if I get a chance, I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you. Whose stream are we on right now?
Abhishek.
uh, on my stream, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll put. Okay. So I'll have to drop. I'll let you know, guys. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Take care, Avish.
Bye.
Bye.
See you
Chalo,
again.
take
Bye.
care. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Just 1 second. I need to.
Okay.
No.
Where did it go? Okay,
No, I
maybe
think
I
it's
can take
on
this
the
question.
laptop.
Yeah, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
what happened is, I have two laptops, so I lost the. I'm not finding the charger of this one.
Okay. So
So
you
We have
change your laptop.
spare
Okay.
we have spare chargers. Abhishek has spare laptops. We're good
no,
to
not
go
like
there.
that. Okay, going back to the thing, right? I have few things to add. I was listening your answers about monitoring. So, see, one thing is organizations always prefer managed solutions, right? That's why
Absolutely.
why Red Hat is contributing to Argo CD. One thing is we also have our managed Argo CD, which is OpenShift GitOps. Or if Google is like, let's say AWS has a managed solution, EKS. Similarly,
Hmm.
managed Prometheus is like definitely quite commonly used. Above that, the recent advancement of EBPF, I think it has changed the monitoring thing completely, because
No.
like EBPF from 2023, I guess, which has become quite popular. What it does is take a plain Kubernetes cluster, install a monitoring tool with EBPF, right? For example, ground cover or something, and what you can see is, even without scraping the metrics, it can get so much information about your application, logging, tracing, metrics, because it is actually a kernel level process, right? It sits at the kernel and it intercepts every request that is going to your application. So my suggestion would be, anybody who is learning monitoring in 2024, take a look at EBPF and try
Hmm.
to go for the monitoring tools which supports it, because going ahead you might see a lot of people using it.
Nice EBPF. I was just googling it when you told last time. So I think it's very new. So I couldn't find many resources about it. Not
Yeah,
on YouTube.
I just have one video about EBPF, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very new. That's what I'm saying. 2022, 2023, but
Hmm.
the power that EBPF can get to your monitoring stack is unmatchable.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. So maybe we
Nice.
can take this question, the one that Aditya asked. Can I get into Google if I go with DevOps? So Aditya,
Yeah,
Google does
yeah.
not have a DevOps role. So they have SRE roles. So you can prepare for that. For
Hmm.
SRE roles, so there'll be a DSA round as well, unfortunately. So I hate to break this to you. There'll be a DSA round. It won't be, a very extensive DSA round. It will be from fundamental to intermediate round. But yes, you should know the basics of DSA. Plus, there'll be different round of, related to, DevOps, SRE principles. So there is a book. I have shared this earlier as well. So try to Google SRE handbook. This
Yeah.
is an ebook that was published by Google, because this SRE role, it was created by Google itself,
Hmm.
and then later on all the companies adopted it. So try to look for the book called Google SRE handbook, and it has a bunch of details. It has a lot of details. It's not just a blog, it's an entire ebook. So
Yes.
try to
Hmm.
read through that. So that would be a starting point. Plus, your usual DevOps, CI/CD, and try to focus more on the observability part, monitoring, alerting, logging, all those things. So that's what I would suggest if you are planning to go with SRE role in Google.
They have three books, right? Actually, not a single. That one, there is handbook. I think there is one workbook or something. There are
Correct.
three books. I read two out of them. They are like amazing.
That's amazing. And it has the information that, it is there, it is openly available for everyone to read and go through. And it's one of the most underrated resource that I would say it is present over there.
Yes.
Hmm. Nice.
Just to let you know, we have 320 people still active live. So
Still active.
yeah.
I think
So
it's 12. Oh, it's 12 here.
12 here, yes, but we have 320 subscribers.
320.
What
Crazy.
is the
Lot of.
difference between Open
Hmm?
Tofu and Terraform? So again, a lot of people were asking this, so I picked it
Hmm.
up. So see, basically, Terraform at one point when HashiCorp changed its license, right? So I think many people are aware of it. When it
Yeah.
changed its license, there are restrictions that Terraform cannot be used by DevOps and service companies. Basically, that's the license restriction. It's not that you cannot use Terraform to create your production infrastructure, but you cannot use Terraform and sell Terraform as one of your products, or indirectly also Terraform as one of your products. Best solution is, let's say there are DevOps as service tools like Devtron. If
Hmm.
Devtron is using open source version of Terraform and selling their platform, then that's the license restriction that Terraform has brought. So community did not like it. Many people like TerraGrunt, especially TerraGrunt. They believed on the core principle of Terraform being open source. So they backfired. A lot of other people also backfired. Now, OpenTofu is basically a fork of Terraform, and from
Hmm.
that fork, they are actively developing. So you can think something like OpenJDK, which Java has, right? Oracle has a JDK. OpenJDK is also there. Similarly, Tofu actually. OpenTofu is basically a uh, fork of Terraform, and from the fork they have started developing it. They have added a lot of support to it. So either you can go with OpenTofu or Terraform. Envo is backing up OpenTofu, I guess. I think they are leading the major contributions to OpenTofu. Yeah.
So
Anything to add?
it's still using that Mozilla open source license, whereas
Hmm.
Terraform is into business source license, which you can't
Yeah, yeah,
replicate.
yeah,
So basically, they have stopped the usage of managed Terraform service.
yeah, yeah,
Oh.
So and so like in layman terms, if we try to understand it, so someone was closing the door for a particular set of users, okay,
yeah,
and then before that door
Open
was
tofu.
closed, someone took the stuff out of their home or made a copy of it, and they are building their own home based on that, which is open tofu.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, like I think 3 months back or something before, they also fought a battle. Like HashiCorp has filed a case on OpenTofu, and I saw that OpenTofu actually won that. Like they can,
Oh.
HashiCorp said you cannot create a fork and you cannot use it, like you cannot continue the distribution. But OpenTofu has won that, so they can continue.
Nice. Great. So all these news I don't get. So where do you read? Where do you keep yourself updated so much?
So this one I came to know because I was following Envo founder on LinkedIn. So Envo is the one
Oh,
that is actually contributing a lot to OpenTofu. So I think
nice, nice.
I have a lot of free time.
Great, great. Amazing. So I think it's past 12. I might have to leave.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it was
I'll
it was
also take your
amazing
leave,
being
Abhishek.
on Abhishek's channel
Yeah,
with
Yep.
Abhishek. Yeah?
Yeah.
yeah, totally fine. Thank you so much. You people have helped a lot of subscribers answering their questions. I think even I'll take some 10-15 minutes and close the stream. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
both
Thank you.
Awesome.
Shubham
Thank
and
you,
Abhishek.
Abhishek, Shubham, and thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
good
much.
rest
Thanks
of the night.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night. Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, guys, let's do. We have 300 people still here. So we will do some 10-15 minutes. We will pick up a few questions, and then you know, Guru is here. We can also invite Guru. Right. Meanwhile, I'm looking at some of the questions. Okay, Guru, you can join using this link. Yep. So I have highlighted the one, and let me also show it here. So meanwhile, I mean, while Guru joins, let Guru is very fast. Okay, very fast. This is one very interesting question. How can we use generative AI in the DevSecOps pipeline? Very interesting one. Actually, you know, there are a lot of use cases, I would say. Basically, in the CI/CD pipeline, I'll give you one example. I've seen someone on LinkedIn implement this project, found it very interesting. So what they have done is they have implemented CI/CD using Jenkins, and whenever there is a Jenkins pipeline failure, they have written an extension or code in Python. What it does is, taking the Jenkins error, it makes a API call with the Open API, that is the ChatGPT APIs, right? So what happens with that? Immediately, developer can see what is the expected or possible solution. But of course, there is a downside. They were making API calls with the OpenAI, which is not recommended, because Jenkins pipeline has your organizational information. You can use something like Llama 3, right? Run Llama 3 locally and make an API call with the Llama 3 model with whatever issues that you see. Guru, you have anything? How can we use generative AI in general, let's say integration with DevOps?
Yeah. Can you hear me properly?
Yep.
Okay. Um, I would say people who are not very experienced people, like 1 to 2 years experience. My suggestion is you have a better idea, who people who have better ideas. Like, for example, they don't know the exact syntax. My suggestion is use Gen AI to do that. For example, you can use Google Gemini or
Hmm.
ChatGPT, but don't, I'm repeating again, do not put any of your code which you are using into ChatGPT. You may get fired for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So don't do that. But you can do the other way around. For example, let's say you're writing a Jenkins file for, let's say, a Maven based project. Then what you can do is ask, say, please generate a Jenkins file for a Maven project which uses maybe something like Maven, which is bounded to GCP.
Hmm.
Then it can generate a lot of at least stubs which you can copy and paste and do things. So don't be a coding monkey, as they call it. Yeah, try to get the best things. For example, to shell and node and this. So try to give us as much as context. Then it will generate something. But also you can also add more. For example, my suggestion is keep your DevSecOps pipeline as generic as possible.
Hmm.
Don't try to make it into a big Jenkins file which will do a lot of things, because tomorrow if there is a change in your environment, it should not become a bottleneck. So my suggestion is use something like a shared pipeline or something like that. Now,
Nice.
also that is specific for Jenkins, but if we are using something like GitHub Actions or GitLab CI, try not to hardcode everything into repositories all the time. Use like something, a library, and then do it, so that tomorrow if there is a change you can do that, and then translation becomes easy. You can say, I have a system in Jenkins, how can I move it to GitLabs? Please can you provide a sample application? Rather than uploading your whole Jenkins file, you can do that. It will generate a lot of things which can be used as a scaffold to do that. That would be a better idea. Please again, do not upload your Jenkins file or something
Yeah.
from your system into thing. You will get fired for that.
Yeah, that's why recently I made a video also. If someone's watching the channel, you can see I explained how to run Llama 3 locally using Olama, and how you can actually set up the complete ChatGPT like interface using Open Web UI. So you can set up something like internal ChatGPT for your organization and start asking it questions, because The latest Llama 3 405B, I think it's as powerful as your ChatGPT 4. So yeah, do that.
One of the questions which was asked, Abhishek, was how do can I get more projects for Java
Hmm.
to build for CI/CD pipeline? This is the link I'm sending. I can't put. If you search for Spring Academy for me, because I'm not able to post it, can I put it in private chat? You can copy it and paste it. Yeah, this is the
Okay.
one. If you can paste this has lots of projects which are Java based and Spring based, which
Okay.
and the thing is, all this is free. Even the whole Spring Academy is free. So you can copy this link and send. Yeah, exactly. Thanks very much, Abhishek. So people can go there, and these are production ready code, by the way. So you will not have any problems. You can take this code. You can
Hmm.
develop the application if you want to, but you technically don't have to. Yeah, and the
Nice.
GitHub repositories are there. Copy them, fork them, and create a CI/CD pipeline out of them if you want to. It's a very good place, and these are some of the best codes I have seen by Ash Long and some Dan and lots of people. So it's a very good repository.
Perfect. Yeah. We have Akash. Akash, what's up? Please ask your question if you want to ask.
Yeah, I do have one. Yeah, hi, and Guru. Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah. So let's focus only on the observability part. Okay. So only
Hmm.
observability. Now, how we can divide observability? Like let's say
Hmm.
in your organization, let's say
Hmm.
you started implementing DevOps practices and everything, but it
Hmm.
is way too legacy. Okay, it is way legacy. You have to
Okay.
go bits and bits. Okay. So as of now, the main part is you have to implement the observability. Like monitoring was there. It's not
Hmm.
nothing like monitoring was not there. Monitoring
Hmm.
was there, but we are going to implement the end-to-end observability. How we are
Nice.
going to differentiate or categorize the observability part? What would be the first stage, second stage, third stage? The way you are answering, I will follow up with the questions which I am facing because I am implementing that in my organization on the end-to-end observability model. So anyone can proceed, and I will add the questions follow up to the answers.
Okay. Yeah, I think great question, Akash, and I believe a lot of people will benefit out of it. So, see, let me tell you one thing. There are like the standard thing is that there are four pillars, right? Whenever you want to set up observability, you need to have metrics, logging, tracing, right? These are some of the main things that you need to have. So let's break it step by step, okay? Because now you want to set up from the sketch. So I'm not talking from a tool point of view. I'm not saying you have to go with Loki, or I'm not saying you have to go with XYZ. The thing is, you need to have metrics, logging, tracing, with which you can improve your application as well as the complete thing. Okay. Now, metrics, logging, and tracing should not be implemented at one level itself. Okay. Start from, why do you monitor? Okay, or why do you observe? Let's start from here. You observe because end of the day you want to have a better application, better availability, better reachability, and reliability of your product. Okay, so start with the application network latency. You need to monitor that first. So if someone is trying to reach out your application, example, you are going to google.com. Okay, when you go to google.com, are you able to receive the response fast from google.com or not? You are able to do that. If you are not doing it, you need to have, that is your first level of monitoring, the ingress request that is coming to you. You need to monitor the network latency. That is also observability, right? Second thing, then set up the monitoring at the cluster level. Now let's say you have your application at the Kubernetes cluster, on the Kubernetes cluster. So again, you need to have metrics, logging, tracing for your Kubernetes cluster. Why? Because things can go wrong at your Kubernetes cluster also. If you have a wrong size Kubernetes cluster, or if your node is is not responding well, or there is something issue with the API server, it doesn't matter how much metrics you have about your application. Because your API server is not responding, you still cannot get enough response from your application because the request is going through it. So we have completed the network thing. Then we have completed the Kubernetes cluster thing. Okay. Now it comes to your application. Now you need to collect information of your pod, right? How many times your application is going down? How many requests is it able to withstand? Okay. What kind of response it is giving when thousand people are trying to access your Kubernetes pod. Now then your application logging. Okay. So get the logging of your application, audit logging of your application, the application logging of your app. From there, you can collect a lot of insights, even from the logging. And from the logging, you will verify when your application is throwing the warnings, when your application is throwing the errors. This is fourth level of monitoring. So this way, you need to set up monitoring at each and every level. Just now I was also talking about EBPF because it can give you a lot of insights about your kernel, network latency, all of these things. So this is how you have to break down, Akash. At each level, you need to have a tool. For example, at the cluster level, Kubernetes cluster level, you can use Prometheus, right? Because it can, using the node exporter, it can get a lot of information. For your application, you need to have the ELK stack setup, right? And for your AWS environment, let's say you're on AWS, you need to have the AWS related monitoring. It can be CloudWatch or whatever you have. Then for your network latency, I was talking about EBPF, you need to. So observability is not about one tool. Observability is a very complicated subject. You need to have all of these things set up so that you can get the perfect insights. Guru, you want to add anything?
Okay, okay. Now tell me something. What's your name, sir? Sorry, I forgot.
Akash Panik.
Akash.
Yeah.
Are your application only on Kubernetes or they are on a
They
different
are
type?
on-prem.
Sorry?
No. They are on-prem.
No. Kubernetes, yes or no?
No.
They are VM based.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Now,
there
Abhishek,
are applications which are on Kubernetes, but the application I would be dealing with, they are on-prem, the VMs one.
VMs only. So they are VM based applications and they are not on-prem. Okay. Sorry, they are on-prem, but they are on VM based applications. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me what kind of applications they are. Are they web applications or they are? Do you know what type of
We have
applications?
all the applications. It's website, mobile, desktop, every application.
Yeah. Okay.
We have all
So
the
okay, fine. So my suggestion is we have, as Abhishek mentioned, we have to look at from three. One is logging, second is infra, third is application level. But before you go and pull all the data, my suggestion is get the metadata correct. Number one metadata would be what is the application, what is the source, which machine it's coming from, and what is the type. Yeah, I will repeat it. For example, is it a web application coming from tomcat.internal.bwg something? What is the path? What is the type, whether it's a debug log or info log or warning log or something, and as much other context if possible. For example, the port it's running on, something. This metadata is very, very important. Yeah, once you get that, then maybe also include the tool which is monitoring it. For example, if it's Prometheus, node exporter, or an Nginx controller, interceptor, whatever it may be, or a standard pull thingy. Yeah. So it all depends. Get this metadata correct first, and then send some logs. Just dump it somewhere. Okay. To make sure that the metadata is coming. Then my suggestion is use something like uh, log stash or a push gateway, which acts as an interceptor. Yeah, it's like, for example, whatever I go and eat, my wife watches. If I go and eat something naughty, then she will say no. So everything I eat, she monitors. So she's kind of a monitoring, not monitor. I would say kind of a gateway. Yeah.
Secure gateway.
Yeah, say kind of, yeah. So she's the filter, let's put it that way. So whatever goes in or out from a tool, you go through a interceptor, which based on some rules can forward the request to either a monitoring tool or a logging tool or both. For example, I am a big fan of Java, surprise, surprise. And then what I do is first I write it to a Logstash pipe. Then le- initially we were working on ELK stack, so it was sending properly. But suddenly we thought, okay, let's use something because ELK stack is one thing. It's a bit expensive, and were not sure about the licensing strategy of OpenSearch. So we were bit. So what we did is we did not get rid of Logstash and everything. No, what we did was we looked at Loki, which has a plugin to Logstash itself. So what we did is we add this more, and instead of only sending to ELK, we were sending it to ELK and Loki for some time. And then when everything was stable, we removed ELK stack, the Elasticsearch only. So the system don't have to change. My suggestion is it's like suddenly I'm living in India in a good life and suddenly I go and live in Norway. It's not possible. It's bloody cold in there. So my suggestion is move to London. It's a bit colder. Then you move. So move some part of it, and don't move more than one application at a time. Yeah, because then you will not know where it is going wrong. So no Big Bang, as they call it. Yeah. So don't do this. The Big Bang theory. Never do that. Yeah. Never. I'm not sure you have seen this series over in Netflix. They are a bunch of nerds. They always do the wrong thing. So my suggestion is don't do that. One application at a time. Don't try to move everything. Move one type of application. Test it for at least 5 to 6 days with all the scenarios, error scenario, good path scenario, and make it into a visualization programmatically. Don't do manually, please. It's a very bad approach. Write a dashboard using JSON or something and put it so that other people can use it. So try to programmatic. Python has some very good Grafana tuning concept. So do that. And also, as Abhishek mentioned, try not to overcomplicate it. Yeah, never overcomplicate. Keep it simple. Draw the diagram so that the developers can also see. Because unless you show it to them, they will not implement the right way. And all this metadata plus the data plus the diagrams will make it easier. I'm not going to say it's easy. And also be a bit patient. Things will go wrong. You have to do very good stakeholders management, saying we are not going to get rid of an existing tool. We're going to run two systems parallelly and slowly move out to alternative. If you have already a system, if you don't, then you can do R&D and say this is what we have got. So it depends on the context.
So basically, Akash, it's not about only getting Prometheus onboarded on your system. It's about first trying to understand, like, what is my end goal? My end goal is to have the application available better. It is to make sure the application is more reliable. So for that, Prometheus is just a simple piece that can help you monitor your Kubernetes cluster, right? And some part of your application also, but not extensively. When it comes to observability, there are a lot more things. So right from first step, that's why I was saying you can come from left to right or right to left. Anything is fine. You can start with your application logging. Like Guru said, first ask your developers to log as much as things in the application. Warning logs, debug logs, info logs, right? Error logs. The very first thing is your application should have all the logging things. Okay. Then you can use ELK stack or any stack. Why? Because you can see all your services logging at one place. This could be your step one. Like if you are noting down, this could be your step one, where make sure your developers are logging enough things which will help you identify what are the errors that you are getting in the application. Okay, now your application logging part is done. And you can create very cool dashboards using Kibana or any particular thing where you can monitor like how many error logs are there, how many info logs are there, how many warnings are there in your application log. Then the next part. Now your application is done. Let's go little above. If it is deployed on Kubernetes, okay, then you have your pod, this layer, right? Your pod, your Kubernetes cluster networking. Now this can also go wrong. If it goes wrong, also your application is impacted. Now what you can monitor at the Kubernetes cluster level, like the pods you can monitor Kubernetes cluster networking using Kubeshark or something. Then let's go a level above, monitoring of your Kubernetes nodes, API server, Kubernetes cluster all together. This is where your Prometheus can come into picture, and cool dashboard using Grafana, right? Now this is one level above. This is also done. Now the before thing, the request that is coming to the Kubernetes itself or the application itself. So the complete network latency. For that, you can again use some tools which can monitor how your application is trying to reach to the your client is trying to reach to the application, at which point is he facing the network latency, at which point he is not facing. So this way you can divide and not go with one tool, but make sure at each stage your product is monitored.
Okay. What do you use for incoming traffic, like HA proxy or something? What do you
we
use?
are we are using Dynatrace, Guru. So
No,
I'll
no, no,
tell
no,
you.
not for logging. For
Mhm.
your traffic incoming, like it's an Nginx
Apache,
or
It's
Nginx.
a Apache, yeah.
Apache, right? Apache also has a Prometheus exporter. You can use that. You can send it. Nginx has one. HA proxy has. So you can add these adapters to it, and it will automatically export. My suggestion is, as Abhishek mentioned, do one part at a time. Don't do five parts at a time. It's very important, else you will not know where the problem is. Yeah, my suggestion is that. And once you implement something, make it run for at least 24 hours. Then you will get the proper baseline which to cover with. Unless you have a baseline, you will never be whether this is a good condition or not. How would you know? Yeah, if your application is sending error log just for fun, you will never have warn using the database. Why are you sending the warning in the first case? You shouldn't be. So sometimes you have to put some filters later, but then get a good baseline. Means this is the minimum you should have for application is running good. Then below it is a problem. Then you can add bit. My suggestion is first make the rice, then make the chicken, then put them there, and at the last put some coriander leaf at the top. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
coriander first. Don't because
I
it will
think I think Akash has more question.
yeah,
Like
no,
आगे
Yes.
बढ़ा.
yeah, go ahead.
So all the things which you guys mentioned are really, really true and which I faced on a day-to-day real basis. So
Hmm.
first thing first, I will tell you the tools which I can select is not in my hand because it's a MNC. So
Hmm.
how we get the tool is we get the tool and then you have to learn and then you have to implement. It's
Yeah.
not
Hmm.
we are suggesting. So
Hmm.
that way we are strict to Dynatrace now. We were using
Hmm.
Splunk, but now
Hmm.
we have a Dynatrace. So
Hmm.
I started with the Dynatrace part. The first thing which Guru mentioned is as I belong to a banking company, so we cannot rely on directly send the data. So we are using active gates so that it
Hmm.
will act as a proxy and we have some kind of like SaaS platform. So we
Hmm.
implemented that. It was on a higher level only. Like it's not me who is implementing it. It's already there. So we got the platform and everything.
Hmm.
So we started from the same thing, like from the Dynatrace documentation point of view. So the thing which Abhi mentioned, like the metrics, logs, traces, and everything. So they have something called as the four golden rule, which is called as Vault. It's one of the same thing. They are defining it as a volume, availability, logging, and tracing. So it is
Hmm.
the same. So it is also working on the same like the which you said like EBFF something similar
Yeah.
on that.
EBPF.
Yeah. Yeah.
EBPF.
EBPF. So it is on the kernel level only. So what
Hmm.
Dynatrace are doing is they are installing an agent, and the name they have added is one agent only. So the name is
Hmm.
also one agent.
Funny.
So we
Yeah.
are installing that one agent on a kernel level only. So it
Hmm.
is getting all the data. So the
Hmm.
best part, what I observed is it is not storing the data on the servers on our servers. It is taking the data and storing on Dynatrace servers like the MongoDB. So the latency or the slowness of the system is low, which we face
Hmm.
on the Splunk thing. Okay, so in
Hmm.
Splunk we used to face so much thing, but in Dynatrace, so this is very good that they have some preset dashboards. Okay, when we are monitoring. So in preset dashboards, they are covering the network part, the CPU, the disk, the infra part. We can say the infra part. So once we started with the infra, we CPU, disk, memory, and everything, processes, services, then we gradually increase it to the optimal level. So they have something called as full stack mode. So in full stack, you can observe the service end to end, the observability of it, and the very good feature of it is they have a Davis feature also, AI feature also, which is called Davis AI. So what it is doing is it is taking all the back data and giving you a signaling output. So from 0 to 1, if your data or the output is very near to 1, like 0.8, 0.9, the data is very accurate. So now the things which you guys mentioned, I have implemented and got the output. Like let's say I got the 4xx, 5xx errors, I got the CPU, I got the memory latency, everything. Now I have monitored the processes also, like services also. Let's say if we have ISS app pools, I know when the app pool is restarted so that I can tell to the application team and everything. Everything is sorted now. So my question would be, as the observability or SRE or any term we can say, considering this, is our part completed here, or we need to provide anything more? Like for CPU, you can tell what is the CPU range spiked up, everything that way, or the process is down, or the process is consuming more CPU. So that part I am able to figure it out right now. So my question is at this moment is, my part is done from that observability point of view, or do I need to dig in more? Because I have a follow-up
No.
question to that also, but
Yeah. See.
yeah, if you can answer.
Okay. I mean, I'll let Guru also answer this, but first let me put that point. Yeah. So see, the first thing is that why are you doing all this? Okay. End of the day, as a SRE, why do you do all this? Is because you need to provide your organization service level indicators. Okay. I mean, I'll not complex this, but I'll put this in a very simple way.
Correct.
See, your organization will sign up some service level objectives. For example, AWS will say S3 is 99.119 durable. Okay, that's a service level objective that AWS has provided me. Now, what will AWS SRE engineers will do is they will set up some service level indicators. What do they mean is, at some point, if S3 is about to go to 99.9998, okay, they need to get the indicator. Okay, you need to write that service level indicator. Okay, what this service level indicator is doing, it is continuously monitoring. Is the system about to go to a point where my SLO is breaking? Okay, that's why they are paying you. That's why they are paying SRE engineers. Okay, if Instagram goes down, then what's the point of having this entire thing? Similarly, now your next thing would be, if you have set up all these things, you should set up service level indicators. It can be a program that you write in Go, it can be a program that you write in Python. What it will do is it will continuously fetch what is the state of the application, and it will verify with the service level objective. It, for example, your service level objective is that my application, simple objective, my application will give you 200 response 999 times of 1000. That is the service level objective assigned with you. Okay, you have set up the 4xx 5xx thing, right? If you are getting 5xx once, that means the thing is gone. One time you are not getting 200, immediately your service level indicator has to fire up. It has to send up alarm, or it has to send alert to the developer saying that we are about to break the SLO, so you are in a risky situation. So this should be a next one. I'll also let Guru answer.
Okay. Now tell me something. Um, what happens when you have an error? Let's say an application goes down. What is the standard procedure, or what we call is SOP, or standard operating procedures?
Yeah, so
Do you
first
have
thing,
any?
yeah, we do have any. Like this is not like my application. I'm just working on the observability part. But
No, no,
in
no,
my,
no. Okay, let's say your
yeah,
observability says the
yeah.
application is down. What do you do?
from our end we check the connectivity first thing
Yeah.
first. Yeah,
Okay.
so there are many stages. So let's say we are checking the connectivity, we are checking if we are able to ping the server, then
Hmm.
we'll go gradually, like go step by step. If
Hmm.
the connection, like let's say if we have 3 layer connection, we'll go one by one. If
Yeah.
the connectivity between A to B is there, then B to C, then where at what point it is breaking, that way.
Okay. Then what would you do?
Then
You will
as a,
send
as
an
a
email, to the developer saying that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
incident or email, whatever the
Create an
process.
incident and then send the incident report.
Hmm.
My suggestion is automate that process as well.
Yeah, that is SLI. Hmm.
Yeah. So my suggestion is, when I was working for VWG, this wasn't some there were observability people, but the thing is, remember, German government has some very strict rules. You, if you are employed from 9 to 5, you are not supposed to work more than that because it's illegal. Yeah.
Hmm.
So what we used to do is outside office hours or during even office hours, we used to do is what we call breakage areas, like what we call break fails. It's a very BWG thingy. Break fails. If the break fails, means there is a problem, accident is going to happen. What we do is we use something called alerta and open alert. What happens is this will only trigger when there is a failure or a failure is going to happen, and this will then map it to the teams which will automatically send notification. It's like pager duty or something like that. Yeah, it will automatically send with all the context which is needed. That's what I'm saying. The metadata is very important. So make sure that your monitoring tools and the SLI SLOs, whatever goes, it gives the context using automation. Don't make people write email, because at night at 2 o'clock you will not have all the brains, man. So my
Yeah.
suggestion is make it automatic. Give the metadata. This is coming from this server. This is the topic. This is the path. This is the port. This is the type of application. And the good thing is with one agent, which I know, Dynatrace, it has all this context. It has all this context. You have to just write a templating engine which tells you everything. That's it. Once you do that, as soon as it is fired, let mail go. Doesn't matter. Okay, and then you can say, okay, I am taking responsibility, and then you check out what we call the incident, and then do something called blameless culture. Blameless is very important. Don't say, oh, it's your problem or it's your problem. No, it's our problem. And then
Blameless
try to
model.
solve a blameless, and then put a retrospective, fix the problem first, and create a retro straight away. And we use something called RetroPack, which is an open source tool, which we do retro also. And then you take the ownership, who's going to do this, and then we send the fix. There is a blameless culture. The thing is, once you start to blame people, people will resist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
Prakash also has follow up.
yeah, go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
so these things are now set up on a
Mm.
good level. It's not
Yeah.
complete, but it's on a good level, everything. So now I have to set up the SLOs, SLIs, and SLAs also.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But as it is the first time, I don't know how we are going to
Hmm.
set it up, because I haven't set it up initially. So that theoretical part is good. But let's say we have a website only. Okay.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
how we will approach to set the SLOs, SLIs, how we proceed with that?
So my suggestion is go to your architect or an enterprise architect and say, these are the things I want to implement. And ask them, we have the observability, which is fine, which is telling me a problem is going to happen. But when the problem happens, what what can we do to automate the rest of the process? Because I am not going to be available all the time. What if I'm going on holiday or I'm not available? Then what happens? So we want to automate the process, which will automatically communicate with the right people in an automated way. Can you say, if Dynatrace gives you that, fine, we will implement it. If you don't have, can we use some open source, or do you have a budget for anything else? Please, can we go and find it? Can we get a POC on that and do a POC?
Hmm.
My suggestion is, there is no harm in my suggestion is, we as engineers have this obsession about me doing everything. No, sometimes you have to let go things. Yeah, ask the enterprise architect, this is what we are doing, because they have a bigger picture. Yeah, ask them for tools, and then try to implement one thing at a time. Only maybe messaging like PagerDuty or something, and add the plugin, do the initial investigation, and go with the facts, saying this is going to cost me this much effort, this is what the solution is, this is what we can get, and this is the outcome we're going to get. Put into a small presentation, go there, and see, enterprise architects also have some responsibilities. They can't say no for everything. Because then you can say to your manager, hey, whatever idea is bring, he's saying no, and he's also not implementing it, then there is nothing I can do.
And also other thing is, like, you won't be writing the SLA document, because you are not the technical writer, you are not the business analyst, right? So you can give the inputs.
That's it.
What you can give is, what can be your service level objectives. Like you said, you have a simple web application, right? So a service level objective can be, uh, how many times, if somebody is hitting your web application, you get 200 response. For that, you can write a simple shell script using curl, send 1000 requests, see what is the average, like, okay, 990 times, 950 times. So that can be one your service level objective. Okay, second service level objective, what is the response time back? If I am accessing google.com, I get the response back in 0.1 seconds, let's say. Okay, if I'm accessing guru.com, I might get response in 2-3 seconds. Okay, so guru will put that, okay, this is one of the my SLO is, my application can give you a response back in 2 seconds 100 times out of 95 times. 5 times there can be a possibility that it don't give you. So these kind of things. Okay, so just basic things you can put in SLO.
Yeah, thank you for the very detailed thing, because it's a huge question and the back and forth question. So the only thing is, now let's say we are implementing the observability part. So as a position wise, will it comes to the more on a DevOps side, SRE side, or any other thing we have?
It's
How
all
the
depends
category as
on
a whole?
everything. It will affect you all the stack. First, it has to become from a business side. They are going to do the business analysis, SLIs, SLAs. Number two, you have to instrument your systems, because just installing this tool will not help you. You have to change the application to instrument these applications as well. So DevOps will be there, SRE will be there, and then to collect this, you need a bit more infrastructure as well. So there will be some OpEx or expenditure. So it will affect every place. So it's not going to be only one person or one thing who's going to
No,
respond.
I'm saying from the job point of view.
Yeah, job point of view, yeah, that's what I'm saying. DevOps engineers will be affected, SRE will be affected. So there will be multiple teams who have to work together to get this done.
Yeah,
Hardly any system works on its own.
mostly it's a SRE thing, because it mostly I mean, observability traditionally, uh, it is a SRE thing, but in some companies DevOps engineers also do that. uh, but the core principle comes from SRE, because you are basically observing the platform, and then you are trying to give the state back, and which is one of the reasons, using this all of these observability things, a SRE engineer can make sure that the platform is available and reliable, right? Yeah, yeah, but some
Thank you for your
companies,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. This is really helpful. I appreciate. Thank you, Guru. Thank you, Abhi.
Thank you. I think, Guru, let's conclude the stream for now, right? So we have spent enough time on the stream. I hope everybody who is on the stream, they found it useful. Thank you so much, Guru. Thank you, Piyush, Shubham, Ravish, all of you for being on the stream. And
One
for
question, only one, if you don't mind. Only last one. Narsimha Reddy, you have asked about Liquibase. Yes, you can. It depends on if you are using Java, then Spring has adapters for Liquibase or Flyaway DB. The only thing you have to do is implement the dependency and create the DB migration script, and it will work automatically. If you need ready-made examples, ping me on LinkedIn. I'll give it to you. So that's one. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much again. See you all in the next live stream. We will do more such useful live streams. Take care,
Okay,
everyone.
then.
Bye
Done.
Good
bye.
night. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye. Let's see in the stream.